face of fear. Gotta keep breathing when the negative is all you hear. Gotta keep believing, 'cause in the dark there is a light, truth that keeps on burning bright. Brave enough to fight the fight and shout the battle cry. You'll never stop me, I'm a warrior. When I fall down, I get stronger. Faith is my shield, His love is the armor.
right. Hey, guys. How are you guys? God bless you guys. What'd you guys think of last night's video? Brother Casey came, and I'll give you a little bit of a backstory there because, you know, I initially, when I asked him if he wanted to come tell his story, and he said, yeah, how does this work? And I says, well, you know, I'll send you a link. I said, you have a computer, a phone. As long as you have something in the camera, you know, I'll send you a link, and that's how we make it work. And he said, no, I'd rather just come and do it like there. I said, oh, okay, that's fine. So he drove all the way to my house, and then so did Brother Jim Gillis, and we had some fellowship. You know, my wife made dinner for everybody. You know, stuffed shells, because, you know, of course, she's Italian from New Jersey. And, you know, Jim said it was, he woke up this morning, he was craving it. That's how much he liked it. So, yeah, I mean, you know, what Casey came on it yesterday, it's not something that, you know, I mean, I know that the channel of Fisher Street Preachers was very different in regards to the content that was put on here over the last few years. You know, Ruben and I, we would do a show once a week, and we would talk news and politics. He would monologue, and then I'd come on at the end for questions and answers. But this direction the Lord is leading us in, it's really something because, you know, it's a pretty well-known fact that, you know, we've been involved in taking down child predators for a while now. You know, shutting down the drag queen groomer clown events where they were targeting children. We've shut down a whole bunch of those. But this is an entirely new thing here. I mean, we stopped those things. You know, we've had, you know, at least one pedophile locked up where the U.S. Marshals kind of semi-deputized my wife there in West Virginia years ago, but not like this. Not like what we're seeing now. And I'm actually really excited to see where the Lord is moving us. Now, with that said, I want to say this. I anticipate this video probably being one of our least watched videos. Now, I know we can't really go off of YouTube's, you know, what they say count-wise and whatnot, because at least, you know, when you look at the live count afterwards, because I saw them strip away over 200 live views today again. It's unbelievable. And, of course, you'll notice that since they've demonetized the channel, notifications are down, and I can see in the analytics across the board. So, you know, some of it's probably because of the shadow ban, and it is shadow ban, believe me. We used to put up YouTube shorts and we'd get 10, 15,000, 20,000 views per video, down to 200-300 now. And that just doesn't happen. That's YouTube censoring and shadow banning. They, of course, removed the Warriors for Christ YouTube channel again, citing hate speech and whatnot, because after all, we are the tip of the spear as a ministry in regards to the child groomers. And, you know, they hate it. You know, you're taking away their toys. You're stopping them from grooming kids. You're stopping them from being able to turn these kids into sex objects. You're exposing the pride of it's what they are, and they hate us for it. They hate you for it. They hate everybody that's involved, that stands against in opposition to what they're doing. And the social media companies are very much a part of that. You know. And, you know, we will use them as far as we can. But, you know, again, I anticipate fully within the next few years that as a Christian, a Bible-believing Christian, we're not going to have much of a voice in social media. And I say that because, think about this. Where are you going to be? How many Christians have already capitulated or compromised, and they're using the excuse, well, you know, Rich, if I don't have Facebook or YouTube, I can't reach the lost. Well, how can you reach the lost when the message you're giving is so watered down that Facebook approves of it? I mean, we're at the point now where, and you know, I did an interview with a Washington Post reporter the other day, over a 3-hour interview, I kid you not. And then she was and we were texting again today because she's fascinated by what we do. And, you know, she asked me, how did you become a Christian? Like, where did it start? And I told her, I says, you know, you're the first person out of all, you know, and out of all the media I've talked to, you're the first person that asked me about, you know, my testimony, if you will. And she said, really? I said, yeah. She goes, so none of these ones, Fox, nobody? I said, no, none of them. None of them asked. And she was surprised by that. she asked me, why are we so fervent in our protection of children? And, she asked me what my background was as a child. And you guys saw the other day the video there. I talked about it. And she asked me, she said that, do you think that has anything to do with it? And I said, well, I would be naive to say it doesn't. I mean, it's not like I sit there and go, well, I was abused as a kid, so I got to help these kids. But, some of it is there, obviously. I'm not so naive to just pretend like that's not a part of it. Because it very much is. So, it was a really good interview. I enjoyed it. And she wants to come out with us when he preached to kind of, I don't know if she would just want to document it, if she's doing an entire piece. I don't know. But, I really did enjoy the interview, and I was so shocked because it was Washington Post, not like Christian Post or, one of these guys. So that'll be coming out soon. She said she'll let me know when that piece is done. And she's also well aware, just so you guys, and it's really sad that this point in time, we have to make sure we make people aware of the stalkers and the slanderers. We have to point them and say, hey, look, you're going to get an email or something from these guys because, they're desperate to try to get their names in here somehow. And again, they want to do, whatever. And she says, oh yeah, no, it happens all the time. They're well aware of it. And, we talked about my case in Oklahoma, showed her the screenshots of the messages and all. So she's aware. Again, it's just one of those things where at this point in time, we have to make people aware of them and show them some of the things they've been saying and doing. And again, Washington Post, I would remit, and not exactly a Christian source, of information. I mean, it's not like she's Christian. It's not like they're conservative. Washington Post is considered pretty liberal, from my understanding. So, for her to say that, it's pretty wild. But like I said, I'm watching the numbers on the video here, and they have dropped down to only 4 viewers. And like I said, I anticipate this to be one of the lowest watched videos ever. And the reason being is because the word money is in the title. And in Christianity, I saw a brother came on earlier, made a comment, said, oh man, money, no, one word, goodbye. And that's it. And he's right. So before I even, got into what we're going to talk about with money, whether good, bad, or indifferent, the word money makes people not want to listen. And it's because, people, we're conditioned to believe that any ministry in your church is automatically going to start talking about gimme, 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 gimme. And regardless of whether and to them, they just don't, if they don't hear it, they don't have to, give or feel guilty or whatever. And our intention, of course, is not to make anybody feel guilty about anything. We didn't even really give a breakdown of what we're going to be talking about in regards to that. But like I said, the word money is in there, so people don't want to see anything associated with that because of the assumption that, we're going to talk about giving and whatnot. And we are. But not in the way that you think. Because again, I don't believe in tithing. I don't think there's a command in the Bible for the New Testament church to give tithes. I don't think we're under obligation to tithe. I don't think we're under obligation to give 10% of our income to the church anymore. I mean, if you want to, God bless you, but it's not obligatory. Now, if I made this video and said, oh, stop giving your money to churches or Christians, it'd probably have 500 people watching. But like I said, I've never had a video with, where I'm looking at here, 5 people watching. I've never had a video that low ever. So it's probably a shadow ban, number one, especially coming off of the video last night where, I mean, that guy, he's, legit. What that guy went through as a child, to come out and tell his story the way he told it. He's been very vocal, very public about it. He's all over the news here. You can just type his name in Google and you'll see. Talking about what this guy did to him and how many of the children have been involved in this. And, this all started with street preaching and street preachers. I mean, before we got to Oklahoma, the last year and a half, 2 years, when have you ever heard about anything in Oklahoma in the news? When have you ever heard any news coming out of Oklahoma? I know I didn't. Oklahoma, like, what the heck is that? and obviously I mean it's sarcastic. I know what Oklahoma is. I always knew what it was. But you never heard anything about Oklahoma. You never heard anything about the news in Oklahoma because Oklahoma, well, it's a pretty boring state. There's not a whole lot that goes on here. And I can tell you that because, well, I live here. And again, not a whole lot goes on here. But nonetheless, it's amazing to me what actually is going on here in Oklahoma. Because the amount of child predators that we're catching here is off the charts. Never in a million years did I think that we would be going into and catching not here, not in Oklahoma. Red state, conservative state. And don't let that fool you either. People are going to say, look at that conservative state, all these child predators, ha, 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 ha. Unfortunately, it's the liberals that are doing it. And what they're doing is absolutely sick and disgusting. But we're catching them. I mean, it's just insane at the amount of pedophiles there are that have infiltrated our school systems here in a state like Oklahoma. And churches just aren't. They're not doing anything about it. They're literally not involved. And I don't know if it's a matter of just not wanting to know, but they're nowhere to be found in any of this. And it perplexes me because if there's any evil in the world that we should be standing against, it should be the grooming, trafficking, indoctrination of children into a sex cult. Why the church is burying their head in the sands, I'll never know. Why, guys like, what we do as a ministry and what other people do, other groups do out there. I mean, look, Shatter Ops, you guys remember how we had him on. Look what those guys are doing. I mean, they're physically going in and rescuing children. And we are now working with them as well. And again, we had to show him some of the stuff these guys are saying and doing about us. And he alerted me to how one of the guys that does what they do has somebody doing it to them too. All kinds of baseless accusations. And his guess is they are plants. Whether it's government or LGBT, they're plants. People that do that stuff. So I just want you guys to know that he's well aware of the characters and the fake accounts and anybody. And besides that, does anybody really think if you email a guy like that asking about, hey, what's Rich doing? Is Rich doing this? Rich doing that? Like, is he going to answer you in any capacity? Considering that, they're rescuing children and people who are abused and ritual religious abuse. It's ludicrous, to think that people would be thinking that, people are going to go, yeah, they're over here doing this and doing that. But again, this is the world we live in, right? Where we have to be careful and tread carefully because, again, the Bible promises that the devil appears as an angel of light. That the devil has children, God has children. And the devil's children want to interfere. They want to stop. They are partaking of, and they are very much involved in the agenda from Satan. They want child grooming to continue. They want people to continue to go to hell. They have no real interest. Data's not displaying properly. Okay, that's weird. Something going on with YouTube tonight, apparently. They're not displaying data, it says. Retrying. Okay. So I don't know what the deal is there, but, one of the things that they're telling me is the churches have really been a hindrance in their wanting to get involved. They really don't. And a lot of what we're going to talk about has to do with some of the churches and how, across this country, trying to get churches to help when it comes to rescued children and whatnot, they just don't want to do it. Don't know why. They claim that they're against it. Of course, the same churches claim they're against abortion, but you don't see them out there at the abortion mills. Which to me is pretty inconsistent because if you truly value life, you'd be doing something. If you're against the trafficking, grooming of children, you'd be doing something. And we're not even asking people to go out to the street. I do here in the platform, but emails and conversations, we're asking them, hey, would you be willing to, counsel some of these children or take them in? And what we're finding is a lot of resistance. No. Number one is because of the danger in that world that we're working in when it comes to that stuff. You got to remember there will be repercussions for that. you kick sand in the devil's face. If you think he's going to slide down and take it, you are sadly mistaken. But churches, they just don't want to be bothered. And for the life of me, I cannot figure out why. Maybe they're just scared. Maybe they don't really know what they're doing. Maybe they're afraid of losing money. I don't know. It could be any one of those reasons. But all I know is that they're not. And what we're doing is we actually are setting up a safe house. Now, I'm not going to tell you where for obvious reasons. I can't even show you pictures of it for obvious reasons. Two of the main reasons are two people that stalk the hell out of me, who will absolutely put people in danger because they would love to share information like that just to make me look bad or whatever. They'd put whatever in danger. Plus, even if they weren't involved, they wouldn't do it anyway because, well, you understand. So we are actually, going to be establishing a safe house somewhere in the South, cannot tell you where, for rescued children and abuse victims. They will be there temporarily, of course, until we could find a more stable environment for them to be in. This is just a quick, get them out, get them in there, get them, if they're malnourished, get them some food, get them some water, get them looked at by a doctor, and begin counseling. This is not an easy task. It's not an easy undertaking, but it's something the Lord has directed us to do, and that's what we're going to do. Once again, the problem we face is funding. And I haven't put it out there yet because, I wanted to make sure things were in place before I did. And David put it out there today. I talked to another brother today. There are several people that know about this. Brother Gillis knows about it now. Well, Jim knew about it anyway. We're looking to do safe houses and whatnot. But Dave knows about it. A couple people know about it. But what we're struggling with is getting the funding to secure the facility. And I know some of you might be watching going, oh my gosh, what is it, like 10,000? Nope. It is not $10,000, not $5,000, not nothing like that. Literally, to do this, it's just $3,000. That's literally all we need, and then we can pay the rest ourselves. That's it. We can't even get that for a safe house from Christians. Now, if this was a safe house for a bunch of homos, for homo kids, I guarantee the LGBT would be, they'd have 5 times that amount ready to go. So it may, and again, I haven't put this out there for that. So it begs the question, why are Christians so afraid to talk about money? I mean, we're supposed to be the most loving, most giving people on the planet. And yet you find that every organization, every charitable organization outfunds Christians all the time. Even evil ones, Planned Parenthood, abortion, LGBT, they will raise money for the dumbest things. I mean, I saw, and if you looked at, one video I did called Stingy or Steward, they were, guys had raised $10,000 for monkeypox. There's no cure for it. There's nothing, whatever. They had monkeypox and they just wanted to go party. And it was amazing to me. But we have trouble raising, now again, there are some people that were privy to this privately. And so far, we did have one brother donate $170 for it, and praise God for that. But I mean, for a safe house for children, working with a group like Shatter Ops, and yet the people that know about this, outside of our circle, oh man, that's great. I hope you guys get it done. But hope and prayer. We always left always mock saying, oh, prayers and your prayer, hope and prayer. But they're kind of right, because Christians use the hope and prayer thing as an excuse as to not do anything. I mean, and again, you see that the views drop as soon as you talk about this stuff. Christians don't like talking about it because if we don't see it, then we can't be held accountable. But again, I'm not saying anything about obligatory giving. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in tithing. The Bible doesn't mention tithing for the New Testament church. But we should be cheerful givers. And like I said, when it comes to this topic, you're going to see very, very, very low numbers. Street preachers, Ruben used to make a joke when we were out there, and he would ask street preachers, hey guys, whatever. He would say, guys, open your wallets. I know it's been a while. Crack those things open, blow the dust off. Some of those Benjamins got to breathe. And he was mocking them because again, Christians don't like talking about this. And some of the reason is, and let's just say for what it is, it's because of the abuse of churches when it comes to things like money. They're buying private jets. They're living, lavish lifestyles, mansions, Louis Vuitton suits. They're driving around Bentleys and Beamers and, all these things here. They're living in the lap of luxury, while people in their congregations are going hungry. People in their congregations are struggling to pay electric bills. They're struggling to put food on their tables. They're struggling to make ends meet. And yet week in and week out, they tithe faithfully to the church because the pastor, has told them, if you don't tithe, you're robbing God. Which I find hilarious because those same churches will say things like, well, we're not under the curse of the law anymore. We're not under the law anymore. But then they'll go back under the law about the law of tithing, and they'll put you under that law. Well, which one is it? Are you under the law or are you not? And the reason why people don't like talking about giving is because of these kind of churches. So they assume because one church or two church and most of the institutionalized churches have been horrible with it. The abuse that they do with their money, they don't really do much for God. They don't do anything for the kingdom. Everything is done for themselves. So people think that every Christian, every ministry is like that, but that's not true at all. There are people out there like myself and David, Reuben was one of those guys. There are lots of people out there that preach that deserve it. But the excuse that we can't do it is just not biblical. I mean, the Bible says in 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 7, each one must give as he has decided in his heart, not reluctantly or under compulsion, for God loves a cheerful giver. So what does this mean? Well, exactly what it says. This is a command, by the way. We have to give as we've decided in our hearts. We don't give reluctantly, and we don't give under compulsion or obligatory, which kind of throws water on the whole tithing thing. When we give to a ministry or church today in America or any church, it should be cheerfully because we want to see the mission continued. We want to help that church. That church is feeding you. That church is doing good for the community. So you want to give to your church who actually is, involved in your community, who is meeting the needs of the people there. You want to give to ministries that are out there doing things, and you shouldn't do so begrudgingly, because if you are, then don't bother. If you're not a cheerful giver, then don't give. But just remember this, if you're a Christian who is empowered by the Holy Ghost, you are going to want to give. You're going to want to give to the men and women of God who are actually doing what God says to do. The pastors with good churches, the pastors out there meeting the needs of the community. You're going to want to give, and I'll just use myself, here because, with the safe house, with the child trafficking stuff are shutting down, with all the drag queen stores are shutting down. People think that, we have all these funds, but most of it is out of our own pocket. And, the thing is that the slanderers always resort to the whole, well, they're doing it for money thing. Because it's an easy attack. And if you think about it, it's absolutely brilliant. Because here's what happens when somebody does that. Think about this. Okay? Think about it. They say don't, anybody that asks for an offering is doing it for the wrong reason. And me, I can only speak from my experience. I've never said, hey guys, we've only put out, the call to donations and offerings for traveling expenses. We go preach an event or what have you, or an emergency situation that comes up. So because we don't want the appearance of looking like, hey, we're just simply doing this because we want to get paid. Even though we're not, but we don't want the appearance of that. So the accusation that somebody's doing it for money, twofold. One, it serves the purpose of the slander and saying, look at this, and it serves the purpose, and those of us who need funding for our ministries won't talk about it because for fear of what it looks like. So the people here, absolutely, it's amazing the attack that is, because it keeps people from asking for it because of appearance sake. It's a brilliant tactic of the devil to stop ministries from asking people to help them in their mission. But it should not be done begrudgingly. It shouldn't be, hey guys, I need 10% of your income. There are people that have donated $5 and apologize. I'm like, why would you apologize for that? If that's what you can do, that's what you can do. But it's not a matter of, hey guys, give me 10%, 20%. The Bible says, give what you have, decided in your heart. I've heard people say, well, I'm going to give as the Holy Spirit leads me. Well, that's great. And I would sometimes say that because it's cliche and everything else, but the reality is you're supposed to give as you see fit. And a pastor a long time ago told me the reason we want to be careful about that is because what if the Lord puts it on somebody in their heart and they want to give, I don't know, whatever, $500 or something. But You say something here and they'll suddenly go, oh, well, I'll give $20. So we have to be careful about how we tell people to do this. But for me, like when we're talking about, at least for the ministry purposes of stopping kiddie drag shows, going to meet with senators, going to meet with lawmakers, going out there and, trying to secure a facility, a safe house, which we're going to go, use for rescued women and children. I mean, as a Christian, I would think anybody would want to be involved in that. But we find that most people will find a reason not to. They don't want to be bothered. But I want to go into the Bible about giving. And again, like I said, when it comes to this topic, most Christians don't want to hear it, because they make the assumption that every Christian that talks about giving is the same as a Joel Osteen or a Kenneth Copeland or a Jesse Duplantis or a Creflo Dollar. When in reality, you look at ministers like myself, you look at, Cleveland street preachers, you look at the way Reuben did things. None of us are of that caliber. None of us are even remotely like those guys. Every one of those men that I just mentioned in that, couple of people there, every one of us goes out and actually preaches. We go out into our communities. We travel the country. We go preaching here. We're, and yet somehow or other we get, because of slander, because of how bad some of these guys really are, the entire Christian world somehow puts all Christians under the same umbrella as the Joel Osteen types. It's truly insane. But if we look at the Bible here, your heart is where your money is. You're going to put your money where your heart is. Matthew chapter 6, verse 1-4 says, "Beware of practicing your righteousness before men, to be noticed by them." Now, I want you to know this, because whenever you say or do anything, the first verse that the Pharisees, the Facebook Pharisees, the Cyber Sanhedrin are going to do is they're going to say, oh, look, you're doing it for men. No. Even if you talk, like when we go out there and say, hey, guys, this drag show got shut down, we're not doing it so we could say, praise God, rich for you, and all this other stuff. We're showing you guys that it can be done. If you're willing to go out there, it can be done. You can talk about the things that you do, just as long as you're not doing it just so you get for the praise of men. So you're not going, look at me, guys. That's the key to that verse right there, is to be noticed by them. Otherwise, you have no reward with your Father who's in heaven. Verse 2. So when you give to the poor, do not sound a trumpet before you, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and in the streets, so that they may be honored by men. Truly I say to you, they have their reward in full. So this is something that's weird when it comes to the church, because whenever you do something, people want to see what it is you're doing. Now, the Bible says not to do that, but we've been conditioned to believe that we want to see it. Why? So, for instance, let's use the safe house, for example. We have children that we're going to be rescued, right? We have men and women that are physically going to go in, and I'm not there yet. I'm going to be learning how to do that, to physically go snatch them out of there. But there are men and women that are doing that right now. They go, they get a kid, they snatch them out of, they put them in a safe house. Do you think it's appropriate in any way, shape, or form to go out there and try to go, hey guys, we just rescued this kid, check this out, and start, going on? Of course not. You can't do that. But people will put children in jeopardy just so they can give themselves clout. See, unfortunately, when you're doing stuff like that in that type of world, you can't divulge all the information. I can't go out there and say, hey guys, we just rescued 3 kids from this place and brought them over. We can't do that. But in the church world, when you don't show that kind of stuff, people don't believe, which to me is odd. Even at this point, we've been public ministry for several years now. And yet, the drag show, we're in the news all the time, shutting down drag shows, fighting free speech cases. And yet somehow there's this, like, we don't know thing. And that seems to be a common amongst all the preachers I know that are struggling with it, getting support for their ministries across this country. Churches, look, the Joel Osteens and the Kenneth Copelands of the world, these guys ain't struggling for nothing. These guys are multimillionaires living in the what do they call that? Lap of luxury. 18,000 square foot homes, like I said, Louis Vuitton suits, private jets. I mean, those guys are bad. They're not doing anything, oh, guys, Jesus isn't coming back because you're not giving enough. That's what Jesse Duplantis said. That's insane. Jesus coming back has absolutely nothing to do with your giving or not giving. You think whether you give to Jesse Duplantis, just gonna, because you're not giving Jesse Duplantis enough money, that's gonna delay Jesus coming back? No. That has nothing to do with it. Besides that, what does Jesse Duplantis do? The same thing as what these big name Christians do is they just go to conferences in other churches to talk to people that are already believers and asking them for more money. But what are they doing with it? So they can go and buy another jet and go talk to more people to get more money. They're not out there putting their money towards anything. And the proof is in the pudding there. And yet somehow this is what Christianity wants, because they're telling you that if you sow into our ministry, God's going to bless you 100-fold. These guys will some way convince me if you give $100 seed money here, God's going to give you, I don't know what, $10,000 or some imaginary number they throw out there. And yet people are giving to these guys because they want to get something out of it. First of all, that's not a cheerful giver. You should not be giving, I don't care whether it's your money, your time, your voice, anything for that matter. You should not be giving anything simply to get something from God. It's why I like to ask believers all the time, why are you a Christian? Why do you believe what you believe? And you'd be amazed at how many Christians don't know why they believe what they believe. A lot of Christians truly don't know why they believe what they believe. Some of them will confess that yes, because of what God has done for me. So in other words, is you only like God because of what God can give you, for what God has done for you. Well, what about what you do for God? Do you do anything for God? And it's truly one of those weird things where people are in it to get something. They're not out there because they actually believe in a cause anymore. They're not out there because they want to see, the kingdom, be preached. They're not out there because, they want to see people saved, or they want to see, the child grooming stopped. You would think that'd be the biggest motivator for anybody to do something, is to stop the grooming and the trafficking of children in this country. Considering that America is now the the number one consumer of child pornography in the world, the number one consumer of I don't want to say it because it's horrible, but more children are purchased and it's horrible. I'm just gonna leave it at that. They are bringing children to our country now to be trafficked because people pay for it here. America is the worst country in the world when it comes to this. The largest consumer of, like I said, child pornography in the world. And specifically, what's happening is the Ohio, Pennsylvania area, as well as the Texas, Oklahoma, are the two biggest areas for child trafficking in this country. My guess is because of Mexico and Canada. They're easy to get them in and get them out. And the state's doing it too. This is the ugliness of society that, nobody wants to talk about. Nobody wants to see. Nobody wants to see the reality of what's taking place here. This is the world that we live in, unfortunately. That we have to, rescue these kids, expose, traffickers, expose groomers, and again, you only see on the surface there, what the LGBT groups are doing. You're only seeing, the pride events and the drag shows. You're not seeing the judges. You're not seeing the police officers, the politicians that are all involved in this stuff. The case in Bartlesville is a small town here that our friend Mary wrote an article about, talking about how, if this is happening here, what's happening in your city? The police, the judges, politicians, they're all in on this. And this is everywhere. So you're only seeing a small little facet of it. You're seeing one very small part of all of this. And it's going on under our noses, and we're not doing anything about it because we don't want to do that. We don't want to talk about it. We don't want to look at it. Nobody wants to, but this is something we have to deal with. We cannot pretend like it's not happening anymore. We cannot turn a blind eye to what's taking place in this world anymore. We can't do it. There is too much at stake. There are children at stake. There are lives at stake. When that guy Casey came on yesterday, do you have any idea how hard that was for him? Do you know what is at risk for him to come out and talk about what happened to him as a child? Do you know the stigma associated with a man who's abused by a boy who's abused by a man as he gets older? Do you know that people are going to call him, homosexual, all these things simply because of that, which is because it was done to him as a child, because of that, they're going to call him fag. They're going to call him all these names here. Even me, when I told my story, how many guys said, whoa, up top, man, that was a woman. Dude, I was 7, you sick bastard. It was my stepmother, you nasty. Who thinks like that? But you're going to see a lot of these stories. I mean, how many children do you need to see be turned into sex objects before we're willing to, do something about it? Complaining about it on Facebook, complaining about it on social media, that's not getting the job done. Oh my gosh, it's horrible. Well, what are you doing about it? Well, I'm praying for them. Is that your way of saying you're not doing anything? And again, you see, when I say stuff like that, it's, are you saying prayer doesn't work? It's a genius way to get yourself off the hook. Because no matter how you answer that charge, no matter what you say to those people that are saying they're praying for it, you're going to be wrong. Because what you do, tell them to stop praying for it? Of course not. Prayer is effective. Prayer is powerful. Prayer works. But prayer, faith without actions, means nothing. But my guess is most Christians say, excuse me, we're praying as their way out. Because again, what are you going to do? Say, no, you're not? What are you going to do? Tell them to stop? So it's brilliant. It's a brilliant way to alleviate responsibility and you let yourself off the hook. Right? Think about it. It's brilliant. But the fact is this, the Bible absolutely says, treasure is, there your heart will also be. Where you put your time, where you put your money, that's what your heart is. And don't tell me it's not, because the Bible says it is. Unless you want to call God's word a liar here, Matthew chapter 6, verse 21, for where your treasure is, there your heart will also be. I want you to really think about this for a second as you read this verse. Look at it, whether you have King James, NASB, ESV, I don't care what version you have, it says the same thing. I want you to think about this. Where do you have most of your money tied up? Your home, your car, cable TV, electric bill, things like that. Those are necessities, right? You have to pay those. But outside of the necessities, how many of you have houses that, are bigger than you need? Most of us here, at least watching this video, don't. But there are people out there that do. How many of you go and buy yourselves, $8 cups of coffee every day when you can go to Dunkin' Donuts and buy a $2 cup of coffee? People that are sports nuts, and again, this is general, not specific. Sports nuts tend to spend a ton. I know people when they buy seasons tickets, they will drop, I can't even tell you, disgusting amounts of money for season tickets. But they will never do anything. They'll pay seasons tickets to go to football and all that, but they will do nothing when it comes to abortion. They will do nothing when it comes to child trafficking, even though they speak so passionately about these causes. But I think it's hypocrisy, because how could you be against it and do nothing to stop it? For me, I just don't understand it. Now, again, my video tonight I wasn't planning on going into all that. I was planning, I got all these slides here ready to go about giving and is it proper? Because again, you'll see people at the time talk about, if you're, I'm a YouTube guy right now, but I'm a street preacher also. Now we're getting into safe houses. We're getting into, rescuing children. The way God is moving here, it's amazing. And I don't think it's coincidental that the attacks that are coming right before we started this endeavor. I've given my testimony lots of times, but I've never given in detail the abuse that I actually suffered, just that I was abused and was sexually abused. couple little things here and there that I told, about the bleach being poured down my throat, things like that, but never the detail about the bruising being, on any of that. Never went into detail about the sexual, at least not that I can recall, the sexual molestation went. And it just so happens that, somebody used it as a weapon, another, a fake Christian, and another Christian laughed about it. And, I never really thought much about the abuse anymore because I'm like, oh, I was delivered from it. And I was, because I didn't live in a dark place anymore. It's not like, I don't feel empty anymore like I did back then. But a lot of that anger was stirred up again. A lot of that, how for me, how could anybody think that child sexual abuse is funny? How can anybody think that it's even remotely close to appropriate to think that you can use it as a weapon to attack somebody with? And even the liberal WAPO reporter thought the same thing. How could anybody think that's horrible? How could anybody even want to talk about that in an attack? I said, exactly. But here we are as Christians. That's what's taking place in the Christian world. But anyway, so the point of that is when that came up, it brought a lot of things out that I never knew were still there. So what Satan intended for evil, God turned it around now, because now I was open about it, and then I got Casey here, and we're counseling other children now as a result of this. This is not somewhere I thought God was taking us. No idea that God was going to go down this road. I'm a street preacher. I go outside, I preach. We go preach. We stir things up. We uncover things behind the scenes. Like today, I can't tell you. Going at it with legislature in Tennessee about, the school in Sparta that was going on. Here, working with legislators here, trying to get that bill taken care of to remove the limitations of going after your sexual abuser here, getting rid of the statute of limitations. This is what we've been spending our day doing today. Stuff you'll never see. And I'm not saying it to brag, but, again, there's components of every ministry that people will never see. When the pastor goes to church on Sunday morning to preach, I often hear the charge, well, the pastor only works one day a week. Well, a good pastor's in his church usually every day. He studies his word every day. He's taking notes for a sermon for Sundays. There's a lot that goes into it. But we live in a culture and a society now where we have to see everything. We only believe it if we see it. We want to see it. Or what are we going to get out of this? What are we going to get if we do this? What are we going to get if we help you? But I'm telling you right now, if you want to help with this child trafficking stuff, you want to help with the Safe House, you're not going to get pictures. You're not going to get videos. You're not going to get, hey guys, you just help. We're not going to do it. We cannot do that. But that's what people want. But they want that so they can go out and brag about it and say, guys, look, I supported this. See what we did? They want to build a reputation for themselves, or they want to, glorify themselves or show their righteousness based on the backs of, tortured children. So people want the pictures, they want the videos. And I'm not saying that they want to see them because they're into that stuff, but they want to go to others and say, look, I'm a philanthropist. Look where I give my money. They want their righteousness to appear before men. But in this type of world, in this type of ministry, you're not going to get those rewards. You're not going to get the satisfaction of seeing a child's face that was just yanked out of some brothel or some hotel in America here. You're not going to get the satisfaction of seeing a little girl who was pulled out of a hotel or pulled out of the back of a car when meeting up with, well, I'll leave it at that. But you're not going to get to see those pictures. You're not going to get to see those videos. We can't go around inside of a safe house there with a video camera and say, look, guys, here it is, because we have people that will find that looking at any identifying marks, whether it's, the house itself, whether it's, the wall. They will find a way to find where these people are, and that jeopardizes the people that are there. So you're not going to get that reward. And people go, well, I'm not going to give for it. Then don't. Because that's just not going to happen. But like I said, so far, usually by now I'll have 20, 30, we have like 40-something people on last night. But money's in the title here, so we got 10. Usually the chats are going crazy here, but it's not. And it's actually really sad for me to see that, because I really thought that outside of the four walls of the church, the Christians here, at least that followed, were not like this. I was talking to Brother Dave about this today, about how this channel in particular, the people here, since we again, YouTube did take them the Words for Christ channel, but I had already put it out there and said, we turned that over to somebody else. I was focusing on this. And I was shocked that Ruben's channel here, all the people that have followed Ruben all these years, not a single one of them wants to do anything when it comes to monetary help. I was just shocked. To me, I'm just like, for a guy like Ruben who traveled the country, who's won huge free speech cases. I know, he got people that helped him that were not on social media. But this channel in particular isn't used to this stuff. And maybe we need to take some time to do a little cleanup, but that's fine. But as a street preacher, we preach out in the street. But when we preach, this isn't just sport. This isn't something we do as a social club or a get-together with our other brothers just so we can go around and say, hey, we're at this event, and then go home. When I go out and preach, I'm impacted by every single person that's there. Every little face that I see out there who's being forced to watch what they're seeing. Every little child I see whose parents have drugged them to these things, that impacts me every single time. We just preach in Owasso Pride. And I looked at those kids as they were, when the drag queen came on stage and the kids didn't want to be bothered to watch it. They had the little water things squirting up out of the ground for the kids to play in the water. That's what they wanted to do. They wanted to play in the water fountains. They wanted to play in the water park. They didn't want, they didn't want to, they didn't want to go watch a drag show. The kids were crying as mommy and daddy made him sit there and watch. The kids didn't want that. And then they'll go out and say, oh, my kid enjoyed it. No, they did not. That's a lie. Every time I do one of those events and I see those children, it impacts me every time. I pay attention to how those kids are being impacted. I pay attention to what those horrible parents are subjecting their children to. And every time I preach those events, it impacts me. And it makes me angry. It makes me angry that in this country, in America, that this is in our streets because, if some pervert walked up to your kid at a bus stop and opened his jacket, he's wearing a G-string and started doing this and doing one of those little dances they do on the stage of these drag shows, that guy would have the cops there in 2 seconds. He'd be put in handcuffs and thrown in jail as he should. But these people can do it in the public parks. They can do it in your public streets, and nobody does a darn thing about it. Nobody does anything about it. And the people that go out there, I say, oh, you're radical. I'm not radical. There's nothing radical about what we do. Simply we're going out there and standing against evil, standing against the grooming against children, standing against, the perversion, the wickedness. There's nothing radical about that. I would think that every normal person should be doing stuff like that. And as Christians, the part that gets me the most is the complete lack of anything. I don't understand. I truly don't get it. I can go on, again, how is it, even Shadow Ups told me, they're having so much trouble themselves for what they do. And I'll show you here. And I can only show you the public stuff that they do. I can only show you their website. I can't show you anything, obviously, behind the scenes, and I wouldn't do that anyway because, well, these guys, I'm going to show you what these guys do. And he was telling me the other day, I was talking to him, the one brother, and he told me that even they're having trouble. Look at this, exposing, trafficking, ritual abuse. And he said right now, the ritual abuse, that's the big one they're dealing with right now is the ritual abuse, okay? Ritual abuse, rescuing, rehabilitating victims, derail, prosecuting predators. What's their mission? SSIU Core Team 1 brings years of experience working with real victims and boots-on-the-ground investigation, fighting for those that can't fight for themselves, doing what others can't or won't do, standing in the gap to set the captives free so goodness and mercy may follow. Russ Dizdar, who's no longer alive, founded Shatter the Darkness, created and assembled SIIU Core Team 1, and that stands for Shatter Intervention Investigation Unit. Shatter Ups is run by those who worked with and were trained by Russ as part of SIIU Core Team 1. We are now working hard to continue the work that he had led and carried the movement that God had started. Expose the darkness, heal the brokenhearted, set the captives free, seek justice, win souls, teach. I mean, right up here you have your fighting human trafficking and ritual abuse. Okay. These guys are having trouble. These guys are having trouble. And they're the real deal. They've been around since the 70s. And these guys are having trouble. They're actually trying to get churches involved in helping, because again, what you guys don't know this is, when you rescue a child, like we have that safe house we're trying to get, that's not a permanent facility. It's temporary. Because, they're going to get it put in a home somewhere. And we're trying to set this up so they don't go into the state foster care system. I put out a call about Cedar Ridge in Oklahoma City. Because what parents whose children are either gender dysphoric, as they call it, or they're suicidal, they call the number and they all send their kids there. And then what they do is they put their kids in the NEST program, which affirms the gender dysphoria nonsense. Oh, you can't have your kid back unless you do. This is what they're doing. We don't want these kids to go there. That's going to make it worse. So we're trying to get churches. We're trying to get people trained up. We're trying to get people who trained as counselors to deal with and work with these kids and and they're adults too. There's some adults in this too. A lot of adults, believe it or not. But even Shatter Ups is saying they have trouble because again, these guys aren't public about things. They're not out there with a camera and a flash going, guys, look at takedown number 534. There's no glory in this for yourself. Okay? Doing what these guys do. These guys are training a group of us to go out into the field and do this stuff like they do. I mean, I had to put certain things on my phone that are, when you log in, it takes a minute to even turn on because of the encryption that needs to be done just to talk to each other. And this is not the road that I wanted to go down with this video. This is not what I thought it was going to be. But I am extremely passionate about this. Like, I don't see how people wouldn't want to help with this. Especially since, we're talking Bible here, folks. Let's look what Paul says. Is it biblical to give, again, I'm an evangelist. I'm a minister. Should the church be helping us with our expenses in ministry, with all this other stuff? We've never said yes before. I've shied away from this because I've allowed the devils and the Pharisees who simply say things like, oh, these guys do it for money. But it's not true because I've lost everything. Like literally lost everything. And I've always said, well, the church will step up, and they haven't. Now we have this safe house thing to try to, secure for $3,000 is what that's all it's going to take. And we only got $170 so far. Now, granted, we only put this out there for the first time, but the video is titled what it's titled tonight, and the views are extremely low. But it seems like they pick up at around o'clock. So let's see what Paul says here. 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 3 and 7. This is Bible. This isn't my interpretation of it. This isn't my eisegeting the text. This is what it says. It says, this is my defense to those who would examine me. Do we not have the right to eat and drink? Do we not have the right to take along a believing wife? Or do the other apostles and the brothers of the Lord and Cephas? Or is it only Barnabas and I who have no right to refrain from working for a living? Who serves as a soldier? He's asking the question, who serves as a soldier at their own expense? Who plants a vineyard without eating any of its fruit? Or who tends a flock without getting some of the milk? In our military, do our soldiers pay their own expenses? No. When I was in the Navy, I got to live in a barracks. We had the mess hall. We had food. Our medical was taken care of. Every expense that we had was taken care of. So why is it the soldiers of God are all, and again, everyone I know is struggling in some capacity. The brothers and sisters I know that are very active out there in ministry full-time, every single one of them is struggling. Everyone is struggling to pay their bills because the money that they have, they're using in their ministry in hoping and praying that the church will finally wake up and say, hey, look at these guys, look at these men and women are doing. Everyone I know is struggling in some capacity because they won't ask for it. Because they don't want to be accused of being grifters. But that's what the devil wants. And it doesn't matter, they're going to be accused of it anyway. But who serves as a soldier at his own expense? Who does that? This is Paul saying that ministers The churches should be helping them. Let's move on to verses 8 through 10. Say I these things as a man, or saith not the law the same also? For it is written in the law of Moses, thou shalt not muzzle the mouth of the ox that treadeth out the corn. Doth God take care for oxen? Or saith he altogether for our sakes? For our sakes, no doubt, this is written, that he that ploweth should plow in hope, and that he that thresheth in hope should be partaking of his hope. Verse 11 through 14, if we have sown spiritual seed among you, is it too much if we reap a material harvest from you? Don't you know that those who work in the temple get their food from the temple? Those who serve at the altar share in what is offered on the altar? In the same way, the Lord has commanded those who preach the gospel should receive their living from the gospel. And I read this last week, and I've heard this before, and I just kind of whatever. But I read this last week, and I said, whoa! Every person that goes out there, every pastor that gets paid a salary out there, whether I agree with it or not, doesn't matter. It's biblical that they get paid for it. It's commanded that those who preach the gospel receive their living from the gospel. And yet you'll find that the Pharisee and the Sadducee will say, no. You're making a merchandise of the gospel. No, people aren't selling the gospel. People aren't going out there saying, I'm going to give this to you if you pay me. You see, they're twisting things. They're twisting the truth of why people are doing this. The reason God says this is because of people like David Grisham, who lost his job because of preaching righteousness, because of the woman out there in Intuit who got fired because she wouldn't call people they and them, because of guys like me who have lost everything. When you don't have to worry about stuff like that, you are free to preach. You don't have the cares of the world. You don't have the cares of how you're going to pay the lights, how you're going to do this, how you're going to do that. It's the people that don't preach the gospel that the ones that get all of the, all the offering. The Joel Osteens, the Kenneth Copelands. And yet guys like, the ones that are, and there's small churches all over, really good, solid, biblical churches out there that are all closing shop because they can't meet the needs, because they can't pay, they can't afford to keep the lights on, they can't afford to pay the bills, they can't afford to pay the rent, they can't afford to pay the mortgage, because the people don't want to give. Because churches that take offerings are being told by the Cyber Sanhedrin that if they take an offering, that they're making merchandise of the gospel. But the Bible says it here. The Lord has commanded, if you preach the gospel, you should receive your living from the gospel. Why have we as ministers, why have we neglected this in our ministries? Why have we allowed the Facebook Pharisee and their Cyber Sanhedrin to allow us to keep ourselves muzzled for fear how it might appear because of them? Do you not know they're only saying that because they're jealous, because nobody would ever support them in anything they do? Let me give you an example. Last Mardi Gras, you saw a wacko named JT, and I don't want to talk, but this is you need to hear this. They went down there as a team, him, Joe Lilly, and some guy named Shannon. They all went down there with their wives. Let me show you how much discernment these guys actually have, right? They're the ones that are out there talking about how they're filled with the Holy Ghost, and they have so much discernment that everybody's evil except for them. Well, the money that the guy Shannon got in donations to go to Mardi Gras, this is what he did with it. He got arrested at a casino for bad behavior. He bought drugs, got drunk, and arrested at a casino. Turns out him and his girlfriend weren't even married. They were fornicators. And now the saddest part is she's missing. Her family has not heard from her. No cell phone calls, no bank records, nothing. Gone. Just poof, disappeared. These are the guys you're listening to. They'll talk about how much discernment they have while they're preaching with fornicators, drug addicts, and drunks who stole money, right? They always talk about everybody else, but they stole money and gambled away at Mardi Gras while they're out there rebuking Reuben. And their team was getting arrested for getting high and getting drunk in a casino. These are the people that we are afraid to talk about verses like this because of what they might say about us. I've been that way too. Even making this video, I told my wife, like, man, do I really want to do this? Because people are going to think whatever. We have allowed them to make us fearful of how people are going to see us. But it doesn't matter. because it's been to the detriment of the ministers of God out there. This is the Bible. And yet we find that Christians will make excuses as to why they can't or won't support a minister. They'll use things like, well, how do I know you're going to do with it? As if somehow that people like myself and David and Ruben and all the brothers and sisters that are across this country that are out there preaching, as if any one of us is like the Kenneth Copelands out there, or like any one of us is like Joel Osteen out there. Any one of us is like great. None of us are like these men. To even compare us to them is absolute lunacy. It's an excuse. And look, I'm going to tell you right now, yeah, we want to fund the safe house more than anything right now because it is desperately needed. There's only one right now that only one. This would be the second one. And it only these three, I mean, it's nothing. 3,000, it's nothing. And yet I know, yesterday, Casey was on there. The guy, I mean, and by the way, you didn't see him. He is massive. He's huge. To see a guy his size out here pouring his heart out, breaking down as he's talking what happened as a child. The opportunities he's lost. And to sit here, he's never met street preachers. He's never really been involved in ministries like this before. But when he's out here and when he's telling us before being on about what the things that he's lost, the things that this has cost him, and to sit there and have take up an offering for him and get nothing, not even a praise, nothing. I had to go to him and say, we are dealing with Christians. Because the Christians in this world are known as stingy. Unless you're giving to a Joel Osteen, because again, you want to get to give. A man came on here to pour us out. He's rescuing children. And nobody could even support him in any capacity. What's going on? Why are we doing this? The Bible commands us to do this, and we don't. Everybody talks about we're a minister of the gospel, we're preaching the word of God, we live holy. In the same way, the Lord has commanded that those who preach the gospel should receive their living the gospel. That means that those people who are preaching, who are out there preaching, and preaching means to make a public proclamation to herald, should be getting help from the churches. They should be getting help from the Christians. Because when you're out there, you get fired from your job. You get canceled from everything. And at that point, it really is up to the church. And me personally, I've only ever asked for anything when it comes, because I get my VA benefits, but that's very minimal. Which, according to some people, is welfare, apparently. But we've lost our eBay, our Cash App, our PayPal, all of that. It's all gone. It's in the news. It's public. David Grisham lost his job at Pantex. You'll hear about the woman at Intuit soon, because Pacific Just Institute's filing a lawsuit on her behalf against her for firing her for it, but she lost her job. She has a kid. What's she going to do? She's standing for righteousness. Where's the church? All we're going to hear is, I'll pray for her. How about helping her? She's got a mortgage. She's got lights to pay. This is a woman and her lawsuit's going to affect everybody. It's going to literally, when she wins, it's a federal case. It's going to stop any company from firing people for violating their conscience, for calling people they, thems. And we're not going to support somebody like that. David and I preach more than anybody else right now. And some people, and again, I know I'm going to get vicious. I'm willing to bet that there's posts going up about me right now. But it's that kind of stuff is why we've never, taught about this. Because we're going to get accused of things but I've been accused of everything anyway from these people. And then I'm sitting there going, because we have the safe house, I'm like, oh my gosh, how do we ask people to help with it? But then I'm like, we're talking about the safety of children here, rescuing children, a place to go to get them out when they're snatched and need a place to get to real quick. And I'll tell you right now, if Christians don't stand up for this one, there's nothing. I mean, last night, Casey, that nobody bothered. I mean, how does that make us look? This is a man who was abused as a child. This is a man who was molested, who stood up there publicly, put himself out there. You have no idea the courage it takes to actually do that because of what's going to be said about that man. His kids had to find out about this. His daughters know about this. Every woman he ever meets going forward, you know, he would like to get married one day. When he's going to court a woman, she's going to find out about this. Do you know what that conversation is going to be like? And we as Christians couldn't even bother to give this guy a love offer. Nothing? And I know, people are dropping off the live stream already. I know, I get it, because how dare you? But when you go on GoFundMe, and you look at, let's see, GoFundMe, and I've done this before, search LGBT. Let's look up here. Bringing together social justice researchers. The goal is, I don't know what currency that is. CHF. I don't know what that means, so I'm not going to use that one. Okay, so that's all not American. What's up, babe? Oh, today's Amanda's birthday, by the way. She's now 46 years old. Just kidding. She's now 46. Oh, that's funny. So I'm going to show you this right here. These people raised $10,000. One person gave them a $2,500 donation. Let me pull this up for you. Let me show you what the LGBT is donating for. And yet we couldn't do anything for Brother Casey. Where is a screen capture? And I again, for a safe house, let's see who's going to put in for that. I mean, as sad as it is to say, I'm not holding my breath. Okay, so let's take a look here. So let's look at GoFundMe for the LGBT. Look at this. Fighting for our legal rights as parents. LGBTQ. Hello, we are Julie and Catherine, Mama J and Mama C, to our 5-year-old daughter and 2-year-old son. We find ourselves in a challenging and emotionally draining situation as we fight for legal and physical custody of our daughter. We are a same-sex married couple who used a known sperm donor to start our family. In March, our daughter's sperm donor, her dad, who was a very close friend, filed a lawsuit for joint legal and physical custody of our daughter. A mutual agreement was made prior to donating sperm that he would have no legal right to any child conceived using his donated sperm. 5 years later, he has apparently changed his mind. Our life has been turned upside down as we try to navigate the legal system to protect our rights as lesbian parents. Which is funny because you couldn't have that child without his sperm. Male, female. Which, by the way, I think this is such hypocrisy because if a dude, knocked up a woman and said, I don't want to take care of the kid, the courts would force him to do it. As they should, by the way. We are reaching out to you, our extended family and community, to help in securing our family's future. The legal hurdles we face have taken a toll on us, both emotionally and financially. The legal expenses have been mounting at an alarming rate, and we are unable to navigate this difficult path on our own. The only home and family our daughter knows is ours. The thought of being separate from her is a nightmare we cannot bear. We deserve the chance to continue providing a loving and stable home for our precious daughter while telling her that, there's no dad in the picture. Without turning love to that if our sperm donor were to win. The funds we raise for this campaign will be dedicated to covering the escalating legal fees, court costs, and other expenses linked to our custody case. With our support, we hope to continue the legal representation we desperately need. 16 people donated $10,000 for perverts to keep a dad who wants his child to see his kid okay? My point is here, this LGBT will do everything in their power to help. Look at this. You're not talking five. Look at these people. 200. And I'll bet you people have given, you know what? I'll go without my Starbucks this month. 200, 100, 100, 150, 150, 50, 20, 250, 100, 150, 150, 20. This is pathetic. I mean, this is pathetic. And here we are begging for $3,000 for a safe house for children. And these people are getting $10,000 because a guy who fathered a child wants to see his kid? LGBTQ blogger in need of legal aid. $10,000. Hi, my name is Melissa, and my grad school friend Sue needs your help. A beloved and respected LGBTQ MAP blogger, I'm sure MAP is in there somewhere, blogger based in Pittsburgh needs support legal fees in an unexpected court battle to remain safely in her home and continue her advocacy via her award-winning blog. Pittsburgh Lesbian Correspondence. We need to raise $5,000 over the weekend to help her and preserve her blog, an important archive of 18 years of LGBTQ experiences. That's right. We need to put that blog up there so we can continue reading about gay sex. Unexpectedly, Sue's partner, 20 years and wife of 2 years, filed a petition for a warrant to commit her to a psychiatric hospital. Well, there's probably a reason for that. She was handcuffed, removed from her home, and taken to a local hospital in her pajamas and faded rainbow flip-flops. After 5 hours of evaluation, Sue was deemed not to need civil commitment, that she posed no threat. She was discharged, but it might remain on her record and impact her future. No, it wouldn't. It's psychological. This person's a liar. She's a legal occupant of her home of 18 years under Pennsylvania law, but she doesn't have the keys. She's safe. $10,000 for that. $10,000 for one person. Power up LGBTQ youth. We are seeking $100,000 in support of the next generation of LGBTQ plus tech leaders. In 2023 alone, 250,000 tech employees were laid off, disproportionately affecting folks from underestimated groups. That's a lie. Everybody got laid off. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people got laid off. People are getting laid off all over it's a well-known fact. Many of whom recently succeeded in breaking into tech. When companies downsize, it's just jobs, entire communities are affected. We've served 1,000 youth. They've raised $10,000. $10,900 so far. Now remember, these are the enemies of God. These are people that God says are worthy of death. And they do better than we do as Christians. We're trying to save children. They're trying to pervert them. LGBTQ chorus unable to access funds. $2,500. Triangle Gay Men's Chorus had multiple concerts to the community celebrating the work of recently departed composer Stephen Sondheim. After holding concerts in both May and June, we still have not seen any of our funds from our sold tickets. Wow. I mean, look at this. Look at these numbers. Sponsor an LGBT refuge. 33. They've raised more money than I need to get a safe house. Anti-bullying project, $1,500. Look at this. WeHo Aloha LGBTQ Maui Relief. Look at it. Ew. Ew. LGBT person. Help survive. Oh. Okay, these ones aren't really that big. I don't know what. Tattoo for belonging, $5. Can you imagine doing a GoFundMe for a tattoo? I mean, let's see here. Surely as Christians, we should be able to get $3,000 for it. Other countries are doing it. Why can't we in America? And I know there's people watching that are going to be upset, that we're talking about this, why are you saying this, Rich? It's not fair. It's not right. Well, I just showed you number one is the Bible talks about that a minister should be getting paid for preaching when they preach a gospel. We don't go into it to get paid, but if we're into it, we should, if that makes sense. And for me as a Christian who, and this is something that I've been really thinking a lot about. Because there are Christians that have lost a lot more than me out there. There are people losing their jobs because of their stance on standing for Jesus Christ. And we're not supporting any of them. But you look at the enemies of God and their support for one another. I mean, it's insane what the lengths they would go to help each other. But you put a title on a video called Money Talks, and look what happens. 9 viewers. I haven't had 9 viewers since before, even when in 5 years of doing videos, I have never once had a viewership this low, because I've never done a topic other than Stewart or Stingy, which you wouldn't, whatever. Never have I had this low of numbers. But it could be the channel, I don't know. Because I'm not Ruben Israel. I was on with Ruben for several years. His channel grew by several thousand since I started with him. I thought that every Christian I know would be into rescuing children. I thought that's anyway, I'm going to get into all that. But the point is that the Bible says, what I said here. Do we not have the right to eat and drink? Do we not have the right to take along a believing wife? Or is it only, and this is Paul talking, only bottom side? Are we the only ones that don't have to not work? Everybody else get to do this except for us? Everybody else gets support except for us? Who serves as a soldier at his own expense? But for me, I don't care what the Pharisee anymore. The Pharisees aren't the ones losing every opportunity they have. The Pharisees aren't the ones losing jobs. The Pharisees aren't the ones getting canceled for everything. As a matter of fact, they're the ones who are helping getting us canceled. But I am reaching out to you tonight for help. Not for me at this point. We could talk about that in the future. But what we need to get this safe house up and running. I don't care what we have to do. We need to get this done. Okay, I've been putting this off for a couple days now. We're supposed to go out there on Saturday to see this and get it done and sign the papers on Saturday to get it done. And I can't do it. Because my thing is I really honestly thought with something like this, especially after seeing Casey, I at least thought somebody would step up to give something, help, give Casey something, for crying out loud. I mean, I can pull his name up here if you want to see him. I could pull up, let's pull up Casey's name. Let's see. Let's go to Google, type in Casey Yoakum, Oklahoma. The truth will set you free. Grooming allegations made against former teacher, soccer coach. You heard a story yesterday. That's in the news. That's the first one that comes up. Robin Hood Public School. Then you have Radaris. Then you have non-doc. State Board of Education denies gender record changes. Casey Yoakum, Oklahoma City. Firefighter. So here you can actually, everything he said, you can Google him. It's right there. Public education provides decades of access and protection for reported pedophile. The guy even looks like a pedophile. Like literally looks one. Smoke 'em, yoke 'em, barbecue, LLC. Oh yeah, he told us about this too last night before we ate dinner. He was telling us about this place that he owned this. There are people being harmed out in this world, and we need help. We cannot be stingy when it comes to this. People are losing their jobs, they're losing their livelihoods, and the church needs to step in. And again, this video is not something that where it went tonight was not what I had planned on at all. My plan was to go and talk about, the Bible and supporting ministers and where it's commanded us to do it. I did not think we'd have the low numbers that we have tonight as a result of this. I knew we'd have low. I called it in the beginning of this, but it's crazy. It's also really disheartening for me as a Christian to see the LGBT groups get the funding the way they're funding, and to see us I just want to preach and save children. We can't do that without your help. Why haven't you given the Rumble link in the description box? Huh? I thought I did. If I did not, then I thought I did. My bad. Let me see. Oh, there. Yeah, there it is right there. Well. Okay. Good point. I'll put it. I thought it was there. I'll put it in there right now. Didn't realize it wasn't there. Oh, yeah, you're right. It's not there. You're right. I will correct that right, Rumble. I thought it was there. Rumble.com/official street preachers. I honestly thought it was there. I don't know why I forgot to put that in there. But it is live on Rumble right now. I did just check that. Let me go check that Rumble, make sure that's the right address. It is. Okay. I got more people on Rumble than I do on YouTube right now. That's crazy. How about the same? I should probably leave the Rumble one up here because I don't see the chat from Rumble doesn't come into this stream for whatever reason. It doesn't do it. I see a chat here from Timothy. It doesn't come into this. Wow, it actually looks pretty good on Rumble. And by the way, I hope Terry Sims watches this and sees with the black background, you can see the chat come up on the screen there. But I have corrected that, and it is in the description. So thank you for pointing that out. I was shocked. But if you do want to help, and you do want, we would like to very much get this safe house done, get the paper signed by Saturday, get it done. We would absolutely, it's not even a matter, we need to get it done. You can go on our website, which is Official Street Preachers. Yes, if you give through Zelle, it will get Casey. Just make sure you when you send it, you let me know that hey, this is from me for Casey, so I can give it to him. Otherwise, I'm going to assume at this point it's for the safe house. And Casey will be helping us with that too, by the way. He said last night that he's in. So just so you know. But officialstreetpreachers.com/give is the website there where you can go and help with the safe house. On the Official Street Preacher website, you'll notice that the donation platform is a little different than the one that was on the Words for Christ one. The one here is specific. It's very different in that there's a section called Prayer Note on there. And in the prayer note, you can put, if you have a prayer request, which has nothing to do, it's not like you're giving to get a prayer request. I mean, but if you want, that's fine. You can put in there, what you want us to do with it. If you want it to go to like Casey, or if you want it to go to the safe house, you can certainly put that in there, and that will, that will let us know there. You can use debit, credit card. You can use Cash App, because I don't actually need a Cash App account for the website here. I actually got a service to do this, outside of that, and I'm trying to figure out how to pin this now. Oh, this stupid heart is in the way. The heart's in the way to. There we go, and let's pin message. Or you can do our Zelle, which is admin at officialstreetpreachers.com, or our Venmo, which is at Official Street Preachers. Like I said, we're supposed to go Saturday to wrap this up. And this is something for me, and everything that we've done as a ministry. This is probably the most important thing that we're going to do, because you're talking about a safe haven for kids that are going to be literally rescued from being trafficked. And we're going to provide, in this location, there's another one they have, which has nothing to do with us, a safe location for children when they're taken out of the environment they're in and being trafficked. If you've never given before and you don't ever want to give again, if you're ever going to give anything, this is the one time I would ask you to give for this cause. Because again, traveling is great. That's needed as well. But this safe house right now is the biggest thing that we need more than anything right now. We need to get this set up. We need to get this done. Because again, the paperwork needs to be signed so that it can be up, and we have to do this Saturday so it'll be up and functioning. It's going to take a few months to get everything ready to go, because there are things that need to be done, safeguarding things. And it's not an overnight process. But to secure the facility and the property, let's put it this way. It's over 20 acres of property. Over 20 acres. We just need $3,000 to fund it, and then after that, it's minimal to keep it going. But if you've never done any giving before, if you ever want to give anything, if you've ever felt like you want to help a ministry or help do something, this is your chance to do something to help us save these kids. This is the direction the Lord is leading me to go in as far as, this type of ministry. Wow, we have lost 7 subscribers because of wow. And that, you know what? That's okay. I'm okay with that, because for me, again, I talked to Brother Jim about this, and I said, I don't understand preachers. Like, you would think that everybody want to jump in on this, right? This is like big stuff here. And like he said, and he didn't name any specific, he's like, you have to actually care about people. And that's the problem. We just don't, a lot of people just want to go out and preach. They want to do this, and there's nothing. What comes after that? And by the way, the Safe House thing is not replacing the street preaching. It's another mission we're doing. And then next year we're going to have I don't want to say conference, but more of a boot camp seminar that we have the guys from Shatter Ops are going to come in. It's going to be an invite-only event, because this is not something that's going to be for everybody. It's not. This is only going to be, it's going to be people that we trust, people that we know we can count on, that are not going to go and tip their hand to everything these guys do, because they're going to be teaching us the tactics, the things they use for their investigations, their investigation methods, how to take these people out, how to physically get in there to get them out. We're going to be learning all of that. I forget the word he called it. So we are going to do something next year, but again, this isn't going to be your conference like typical, everybody's invited, because they're not. This is going to be very selected. It's going to be very select who's going to take care of the kids at Safe House. I'm not at liberty to discuss that either. We are having people trained to deal with them psychologically. And the point is, after they're there and get out, we want to get churches to get these kids into good homes after that. The adults, they don't need to go to a home, but they do need a counselor. They do need churches to get into, and that's the next phase. We are currently working on getting a network of churches set up across this country for some of the stuff. Because while we get them where we're going to get them, in this will be the second safe house that's going to be up and running. After that, it's going to be getting them out to the people that are willing to take them and help. But next year is we're going to be getting people in that are trained as counselors, Christian counselors that are not going to be working for the state. It's going to be done through churches, and it's going to be offered for free, the counseling, because, if we're getting donations, then we should be offering it for free instead of charging for it, because those people need it. So that's next year on the counseling part of it for more counselors. But the safe house does have people that will be there. There will be, I think, 6 or 7 people there. There will be cameras up. It's going to be guarded, patrolled. Police are well aware of what's going to be happening there. The utility companies have already agreed to mask the address of public records because it will be used as safe house. All that's already done. But it's just so the guys at ShatterUps, they have people that they have been doing this with for a long time. They're training people. They're doing all that stuff there. So they're actually going to be training me, David, Jim, and again next year, whoever else wants to come on board, they're going to do a couple-day seminar teaching this stuff. But again, it's invite only. It is not going to be for everybody. It's not going to be, I want to go learn. This is not one of these things we can just do on a whim. Because number one is it's dangerous. Okay. And if you can't be trusted, you can actually put people in harm's way. That's why the address needs to be masked. That's why we can't give too much information away, because remember, we do have people that stalk us. We have people that will literally give away the address of where it is just to try to shut it down because we're involved in it. And they call themselves Christians, by the way, people that would do that. Believe me, they'll be making mention of this. But this is one of these times that we are imploring everybody to help with this. This is not a direction I foresaw. This is not something I thought the Lord was going to have us doing. Never in a million years. Yes, we were doing the drag queen stuff. You've got to be emotionally strong. That is true. We were doing that for years, but this is a whole other thing. This is a whole other level here. When you're talking about going in to snatch these kids out of there, this is not something we've ever done before. This is not something that I even knew God was going to do. If you watch this channel in the last few days, you'll notice a lot of things are very different than the usual. Abuse victims, talking about it. The next video we do on Sunday night is going to be about, how to deal with narcissists. Because again, everybody thinks, these people are satanically possessed. No, some people aren't. Most people aren't. Most people are just bad people. There are evil men and women in this world. Not everybody who's bad as a bad guy or a bad woman is demon possessed. Some people are just bad, evil men and women. Okay? That's just the way it is. And we have to realize that. And we have to understand that. And we have to stop giving a pass to everybody simply because we want to just say, they're demon possessed. No. Like I said, some people are just plain evil. They're just evil. But we really need your help on this one. surely if the LGBT groups can put together thousands of dollars to keep their dad away from their child, surely we as Christians can step up to help secure a place for these children that are being trafficked and groomed, to get them out of there, have a quick place to get them to where they're safe, that nobody knows where it is or even exists. And believe me, they're not going to be able to find it either. It is needed in the church. We're not done yet. I mean, this is just where God has taken us. But Sunday night's video is going to be about narcissists, because I have learned so much talking to counselor friends of mine, actual licensed counselors, about narcissists, predators, the traits, how to deal with them, this is stuff nobody wants to talk about, but we all need it. Every one of us. Because if you, in this current climate, in this world we live in, you need to know how to deal with this. Okay? Because again, there are people out there that are just plain evil. There are people out there that again, and I've learned something the other day I didn't even know. It's called supply. I'd never heard of this before, but like I was told that again, when counselor friends of mine who are looking at the outside in, look at some of the videos that were made about me, some of the things that are being said, and looking at whatever, his exact words are, you are the narcissist supply. And I said, what? What does that even mean? I'm their supply. And that's what he explained to me, that, this tit for tat stuff, you are supplying them, because without you, they don't have anything. You are their supply. They need you. They need to constantly attack you to build themselves up, because if people saw, and again, it's this whole thing, but I'd never heard of this before, that I'm their supply and that I need to cut the supply off. And that's the stage I'm learning at, and I'm going to pass it on to you guys, what I'm learning from this stuff. The marks of a narcissist, the marks of a predator. Okay, and there are predators out there. The church is full of predators, believe it or not. Not in the sexual predator sense, but I mean, there are those too. But there are more predators than just sexual predators. And you're going to learn how to deal with it. We're going to learn how to deal with the narcissist, because narcissists are evil. They may be influenced by demons, but they are not necessarily demon-possessed themselves. They are just evil men and women who like attention. They thrive on chaos. They thrive on hurting other people because they need to elevate themselves. And we'll get into all this over the weekend, but it's something that, again, we don't talk about it. We street preach. We go out to, pride events. We go to drag queen store airs. We go to abortion clinics. We're going to be going to the Dairy Queen with Tomka there and preach, because that place is still open. There's a pedophile that owns it, that is literally, hiring kids and grooming them out of there. And we need to either shut that place down or make sure no one ever lets their kids work there or takes their kids again. Force them to sell a place. Force Dairy Queen corporate to make them sell it or buy it out from under them and give it to somebody else. Because God only knows what's happening to those children inside that place. We are going to go in and we are going to rescue these kids. We are going to stop these pedophiles, with or without your help. I hope it's with your help. I hope that you guys got this message loud and clear. I hope you're willing to help us get this safe house. And I hope and pray that you're willing to help us in this fight against these child predators in all forms, whether they're LGBT or not. Most of them are going to be LGBT, but not all of them are. But we hope you're with us in this. We hope your prayers are with us in this. And we pray for our safety, all those men and women involved in this. Because this, again, we are going out and we are rescuing children. When we preach in front of that Dairy Queen, you will see that. We will live stream that one. Every single customer that goes in there needs to know that they are helping a pedophile who has molested boys for over 30 years. But now he's not under the school supervision. Now he's completely on his own. God only knows what's happening in that Dairy Queen. We're going to go out there and we're going to put it up. We're going to go, we're planning something for that. We're planning to go after, to bring this to corporate level attention. You guys need to help us with this too, because you're talking about innocent little boys here that are being raped by this sick man, Brent McGee, out there in Wetumpka, Oklahoma. Okay. By the way, if you look up Dairy Queen, go look at how many Dairy Queens, by the way, have a lot of kiddie stuff going on inside their Dairy Queens. Have you ever wondered why Dairy Queen employs so many young people? Think about it. Just get lawsuit claims Dairy Queen Corp failed to protect minor. Lawsuit accuses Dairy Queen of protecting underage people. Houston area Dairy Queen kept abuser. Dickinson man faces federal charges for sex crimes working at a Dairy Queen. Dairy Queen owner charged with sodomizing teen employee. Dairy Queen sign unintentionally refers to child molestation. Dairy Queen manager convicted of sex crimes. Investigators say man arrested for soliciting minor at Dairy Queen. Former Dairy Queen owner oh my God. Aaron Johnson, 28, charged with sexual battery of a 15-year-old. The owner of the Vancouver Dairy Queen. This is unbelievable. Man accused of molesting teens at work. Dairy Queen sued for allowing minor employees. Different, okay. This is man accused of sexually abusing Montgomery County Dairy Queen. Trucker accused of soliciting sexual minor in exchange for young girl's mother. Convicted killer told police to pension for teenage girls. We're going to put a stop to it out there. We hope you guys are with us. We hope Dairy Queen, Drag Queen. That's a good connection right there. That's a good meme coming up. But yeah, we need to go at the Dairy Queen corporate headquarters. And we're going to organize something in Wetumpka, and we're going to invite people to come with us. I want to get 15 to 20 people to come out there and stand against that pedophile. And he is a pedophile. He's not, maybe. No, he is a pedophile. He's a homosexual man who's molesting boys for 30 years. So we need your help in rescuing these kids. We need your help with the safe house. Again, the link is pinned to the top, officialstreetpreachers.com/give. Our Zelle is admin at Official Street Preachers, and our Venmo is at Official Street Preachers. Like I said, if you've never given anything before to ministry, this is the time, at least if this is the one thing you're ever going to donate to for the year, this is the thing to donate to. Because like I said, Saturdays we're supposed to sign the papers. And we only got about $170 that came in for it. So consider helping us out on this. If you're interested in coming out for the preach in Derry, we haven't decided what date we're going to do it yet, but we're definitely going to do it out there. Let me know that as well. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you got your notification turned on the YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/@officialstreetpreachers, or just go to YouTube, type in Official Street Preachers. Hit the subscribe button. If you've gotten something out of this video and others can learn from it or value from it, we'd appreciate sharing the video, encouraging others to subscribe as well. Don't forget a Rumble channel, which is rumble.com/Official Street Preachers, or just go to rumble.com and type in Official Street Preachers. Make sure you follow us there, because we do not get censored there like we do on YouTube. We also have our backup channels here, which is the Honey Badger. I just got notified. Official Street Preachers, Slade, Summer, and our left wing news. I just got notification for something I posted earlier on YouTube. So that's what we got to make sure. If you go on YouTube, let's do it together. Let's go on YouTube here, and let's show you guys how to do this. All right. Where's our backup channel here? I just want to find it so you guys know where it is. Because some people don't know it, because you got to hit subscribe, and then after there's a little bell that pops up, and then when you hit the bell, you get in a little menu. It says all notifications. Let YouTube decide. Like Facebook, if you don't set your notification preferences, you're gonna let like Facebook and YouTube decide what notifications to send you and all that there. So, there it is. Okay. So I'm going to do a screen real quick to show you to do this. So you guys can see for yourself on how to turn your notifications on and everything else. So let's see, where is the screen capture? Let's do this one here. Make sure. Man, they took the audio out. I got to put that in again. Gee whiz. Okay. So when you go on YouTube here, you're going to see the YouTube here. Whatever channel you're on, you're going to go to subscribe, right? Let's unsubscribe real quick. Okay. So unsubscribe. So you're going to hit subscribe, and then you can see that little bell. So you want to hit this again. You're going to see unsubscribe, none, personalized, or all. You want to click all notifications, because if you hit personalized, what's going to happen is you're going to allow YouTube to decide what to send you and when. So you want to make sure that when you go to the subscribe button here, you have this turned on, and you want all notifications turned on, not personalized, but all. So after you subscribe, right, you have to go in, hit the subscribe button again, and hit all notifications. This way, whenever a live video comes up, whenever we do a video, you will get notified of when that video is up. Okay, that's how you do that. So make sure you are on those channels there. Official Street Preachers, the Honey Badger, and some of you are asking, what's that about? Honey badgers are considered the most fearless creature of the animal kingdom. They will keep fighting and fighting and fighting until their adversary gets tired, or until whatever. But they are considered fearless. They're considered tough. One of the toughest ones out there. They're hard to take down. They're hard to kill. So we just thought it was funny to play on that image. So that's all that is. I'm sure there'll be plenty of videos made about me using that, and I really don't care anymore. Like I said, I'm done being supply for people. We're going to learn about that Sunday night, so make sure you do have those notifications turned on, because we are going to discuss narcissism, what they are, who they are. The Bible does talk about narcissists. They are evil people. What they do, how they do the traits, to spot them, and everything else. Everybody, narcissist, it's like a word like Pharisee. Everybody's heard the word. Everybody thinks they know what it is. But most people don't really know what it is. They think just because, even a prideful person, that doesn't mean they're a narcissist. Narcissist and prideful people are two completely different things. Okay, just because somebody's cocky even, that doesn't mean they're a narcissist. It's a word that gets thrown around a lot. And if you're not careful and you're calling people narcissists that aren't, you could be guilty of bearing false witness. And you don't want that. Bearing false witness, God hates people who bear false witness. You don't want to be that guy. Because when you stand before God, you can't say, well, somebody told me about this. Somebody said this. That ain't going to fly. You're going to burn in hell for it. So you need to be very careful about the things you say and the accusations you make against people. Remember that. So that'll be Sunday night's video. So please make sure you have your notifications turned on and you're subscribed to the channel. And again, like I said, if you want to help with our, with the safe house, it's not even a matter if you want to. You should want to. If you have the, and you can. Like I said, we had one person give $170 so far, and this is only people that knew about what's going on privately that know us. This is the first time I mentioned it publicly. But we're asking everybody to share and help us. Again, it's officialstreetpreachers.com/give. And if you don't want to do the safe house, let's just say, and you want to just contribute to the ministry so that we can be more effective, and you want to help a soldier, again, soldiers don't pay their own expenses, by all means, please set that up as well. We sure could appreciate that as well, my family. Like I said, doing ministry has cost us everything. We're not crying about that part because that's supposed to happen. But with that comes also the church stepping up to say, okay, guys, we got your back. You keep doing what you're doing. That hasn't happened yet. And all the years we've been doing this, that hasn't happened. But we need our brothers and sisters to step up and help, not just myself, but people like David Grisham, other brothers and sisters out there that are doing this. But if you want to help, like I said, if you want Cash App, you can do the Cash App through the Official Street Preachers website as well. In the giving part, there is an option to fund it and pay it with Cash App. Like I said, we're supposed to go Saturday to sign the papers. And that's to make sure it gets up and running and make sure it's good to go for next year. Beginning of next year. I think January 7th or something like that is the target date to get it up and running. So, like I said, if you've never donated, you've never given anything before, this is the time to do it. It's the end of the year too, right? Because taxes are going to be coming up. People have those things there. Christmas is coming up. I know people are tight. They want to do Christmas presents, and I get that. But what about these kids that are being trafficked? What kind of Christmas are they going to have if they have no safe place to go to? What kind of year are they going to have next year? What kind of place are they going to have next week if they don't have a safe place to go to? Well, I say next week, but you know what I mean. Because it won't be ready until next year. But still, what kind of place are they going to have when they get out of there? Okay. Again, officialstreetpreachers.com/give. Zelle is admin at Official Street Preachers, and our Venmo is at Official Street Preachers. We thank you all for joining us tonight. We appreciate you. We love you all. Again, Sunday night will be about narcissists and narcissism. You do not want to miss that one. It's going to be a very comprehensive teaching, very, very straightforward, no nonsense. Here's what a narcissist is. Here's what they do. Here's how to avoid them. Here's how you take away their, you no longer become their supply. All of this. So you don't want to miss it. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you all. We love you all. Again, the links are scrolling across the bottom, and they are in the description in the video on YouTube, Rumble, and Twitter. Wherever this video is streaming, it's there. We appreciate all your guys' help. We look forward to working with you, and hopefully we can give a praise report on Saturday morning that, hey, we got the funds necessary. We signed the papers. We're good to go. And I can do a video from the car on the way back from signing the papers to let you guys know that everything is good to go for that. So God bless you guys. We're thankful for you. Please go ahead and share this video. If you know other people that want to help with that, please encourage them to give for this safe house. David Grisham on his Facebook, he has a link if you want to go read it, talking about it. He put it up there earlier today. We'll put something on Facebook probably tomorrow in addition to this, and we'll put it out there on the community tab section as well. We love you guys. God bless you guys. We're thankful for each one of you guys. Until Sunday night, we'll see you then. God bless you. If you need us, please make sure you email us, reach out to us, call, text. Those of you who have my number. And we're here for you if you need us. Love you. God bless. See you on Sunday night.